Imagine asking a group of people over the age of 50 which muscle is the most important in the human body. Many would point to the heart. Others might choose the biceps because they represent strength, or the quadriceps because they help us walk. Some might even mention the brain, even though it isn't a muscle at all. These answers seem reasonable. After all, we tend to judge the body by what we can easily see or feel. But what if the muscle that has the greatest influence on how well you age is one that rarely gets any attention? Here's something fascinating. Think about every movement you make from the moment you wake up. Before you take your first step, before you reach for a glass of water, before you stand from your bed, one group of muscles quietly activates. It doesn't ask for recognition. It doesn't create the impressive appearance of a bodybuilder. Yet without it, even the simplest actions become difficult, unstable, and eventually dangerous. The surprising truth is that aging is not simply about becoming weaker. It's about losing the ability to control movement efficiently. Scientists studying healthy aging have discovered that independence is not determined by how much weight someone can lift once in a gym. Instead, it depends on whether the body can remain stable while performing hundreds of ordinary movements every single day. This changes the entire way we think about strength. A person may have strong arms yet struggle to climb stairs. Another may have powerful legs but still lose balance while turning around. These situations reveal an important lesson. Strength without stability is like building a house on soft ground. The walls may appear solid, but the foundation cannot support them when pressure arrives. Our bodies work in much the same way. Every movement begins with a stable center. When that center is strong, the arms and legs can produce force safely and efficiently. When it becomes weak, the body starts creating small compensations. You may lean forward without realizing it. Your shoulders may round. Your walking pattern may slowly change. None of these adjustments seem important at first, but over months and years they quietly increase stress on joints, reduce confidence, and make everyday activities more challenging. One reason this muscle is so often ignored is because it isn't designed to impress anyone. You won't notice dramatic changes in the mirror after a few weeks of training it. There are no competitions built around showing it off. Yet researchers who study mobility consistently find that people who maintain strength in this overlooked area tend to move with greater confidence, better posture, and more control as they grow older. This is one of nature's most interesting design choices. The body does not reward what looks strongest. It rewards what works together. Just as an orchestra depends on a conductor rather than the loudest instrument, your body depends on one quiet muscle group that coordinates and stabilizes nearly everything you do. Understanding this single idea changes the conversation about aging. Instead of asking, "How can I build bigger muscles?" the better question becomes, which muscle allows all the others to do their job? Once you discover that answer, you'll begin to see your body in a completely different way, and you'll understand why this overlooked muscle may be the single most important one to protect after the age of 50. Now that we know this overlooked muscle acts as the body's foundation, the next question is even more interesting. What does it actually do? The answer is far more extensive than most people realize. It isn't responsible for just one movement or one joint. Instead, it quietly supports almost everything you do, often without you ever noticing. Think about what happens when you stand up from a chair. It seems simple enough. You lean forward, push through your feet, and rise. But beneath that effortless motion, your body performs an extraordinary sequence of events. Before your legs generate force, this key muscle activates first. It stabilizes your pelvis and spine, creating a solid base so your hips and legs can do their work efficiently. Without that stability, your body would wobble, lean excessively, or place unnecessary strain on your knees and lower back. Walking tells a similar story. Most people assume walking is powered entirely by the legs. In reality, every step begins with balance. As one foot leaves the ground, your entire body briefly balances on the other leg. During that moment, this overlooked muscle works continuously to keep your pelvis level and your body aligned. If it weakens, the pelvis begins to tilt from side to side. Over time, your stride shortens, your walking speed decreases, and each step becomes less efficient. This explains why many adults over 50 gradually change the way they walk without realizing it. They aren't necessarily losing strength in their legs first. They're losing the stability that allows those legs to work properly. The body adapts by taking smaller steps, moving more cautiously, and avoiding uneven surfaces. These changes may feel subtle at first, but they often mark the beginning of declining mobility. The same principle applies when climbing stairs. Every step upward requires your body to lift its full weight while maintaining balance on one leg. That demands far more than muscle power alone. It requires precise coordination between your spine, pelvis, hips, and legs. When the stabilizing muscles are functioning well, the movement feels smooth and controlled. When they are weak, climbing stairs becomes slower, more tiring, and sometimes even painful. Even standing still is more complicated than it appears. Your body is never perfectly motionless. Tiny adjustments occur every second to keep you upright. Your nervous system constantly receives information from your eyes, your inner ear, and sensors in your muscles and joints. The stabilizing muscles respond almost instantly, making countless microscopic corrections that prevent you from swaying or falling. Most of this happens without conscious thought, which is why we rarely appreciate how much work these muscles perform. Good posture depends on the same hidden system. Many people believe posture is simply a matter of remembering to stand up straight. But posture isn't something you force. It's something your muscles create naturally when they are strong enough to support your skeleton. When these stabilizers weaken, the body begins to collapse forward. The shoulders round, the head drifts ahead of the spine, and the lower back often compensates by working harder than it should. Over time, this can contribute to stiffness, discomfort, and reduced freedom of movement. This is why scientists often emphasize stability before strength. Powerful muscles can certainly help you lift heavy objects, but stability determines whether you can move safely, confidently, and efficiently throughout everyday life. Every time you walk across a room, carry groceries, step onto a curb, or simply turn around, this overlooked muscle is working behind the scenes, protecting your body from unnecessary stress and helping every other muscle perform at its best. When it stays strong, the entire body moves with greater confidence, making everyday life feel easier, safer, and far more enjoyable after the age of 50. The remarkable thing about aging is that the biggest changes rarely happen overnight. They arrive so gradually that they often escape our attention. One day, climbing the stairs feels a little more tiring than it used to. A few months later, getting out of a low chair requires using your hands. Eventually, you begin avoiding certain activities altogether, not because you consciously decided to, but because your body quietly convinced you they were becoming too difficult. This slow decline often begins with the weakening of one essential muscle group. Unlike an injury, which announces itself with sudden pain, muscle weakness develops in silence. After the age of 50, adults naturally begin losing muscle mass and strength through a process known as sarcopenia. But this loss does not affect every muscle equally. The muscles responsible for stability and posture are often among the first to become weaker, especially if they are rarely challenged during daily life. At first, the nervous system compensates remarkably well. It recruits neighboring muscles to share the workload. Your lower back may work harder to make up for reduced stability. Your knees may absorb more force than they were designed to handle. Your shoulders may tense to help keep your balance. These adjustments allow you to continue functioning, but they come at a cost. Instead of solving the problem, they simply hide it. Imagine driving a car with slightly misaligned wheels. The vehicle still moves forward, but every mile places extra stress on the tires. Eventually, the wear becomes impossible to ignore. The human body behaves in much the same way. When its natural stabilizers weaken, Other muscles and joints compensate, gradually increasing strain throughout the body. One of the earliest signs is often a subtle change in walking. Steps become shorter. Movements become slower. Turning around takes more effort. You may notice yourself holding onto railings more often or avoiding uneven sidewalks. These choices may seem insignificant, but they reflect a growing desire for stability. Balance also begins to change. Remaining steady while standing on one leg becomes more difficult. Recovering from a small stumble takes longer. Reaching for an object on a high shelf may suddenly feel less comfortable. These are not simply inconveniences. They represent changes in the body's ability to control movement. Confidence is another hidden casualty. Every successful movement teaches the brain that the environment is safe. Every near fall or moment of instability sends the opposite message. Gradually, the brain becomes more cautious. People begin avoiding stairs, long walks, or unfamiliar places because they no longer trust their own balance. Ironically, moving less causes the muscles to weaken even faster, creating a cycle that becomes increasingly difficult to break. Researchers studying aging have repeatedly observed this pattern. Reduced muscle strength leads to less physical activity. Less activity accelerates muscle loss. As muscle loss continues, mobility declines further, making independence increasingly difficult to maintain. What started as a small decrease in stability can eventually influence nearly every aspect of daily life. The encouraging news is that this process is not inevitable. Muscles remain remarkably adaptable throughout life. Even in people well into their 70s, 80s, and beyond, properly targeted strength training has been shown to improve muscle function, balance, and mobility. The body never completely loses its ability to respond to challenge. Perhaps the most important lesson is this: weakness is rarely the final problem. It is the first signal. It quietly announces that the body's foundation needs attention before more visible difficulties appear. Recognizing that signal early allows you to act before small changes become major limitations. By protecting this essential muscle group, you are not simply preserving strength. You are preserving the freedom to move with confidence, maintain your independence, and continue enjoying the activities that give life its richness long after the age of 50. At this point, an obvious question begins to emerge. If the weakening of this muscle can gradually affect balance, posture, movement, and independence, what happens when you start strengthening it again? The answer is one of the most encouraging discoveries in the science of aging. The body is far more adaptable than many people believe. Even after the age of 50, it retains an extraordinary ability to rebuild strength, improve coordination, and restore confidence through consistent training. Think of your body as a complex communication network rather than a collection of separate muscles. Every movement depends on countless signals traveling between your brain, spinal cord, and muscles. When this key stabilizing muscle becomes stronger, it doesn't simply produce more force. It improves the efficiency of the entire system. The brain learns to activate muscles in the proper sequence. Unnecessary tension decreases, and movement becomes smoother and more controlled. This explains why people often notice benefits that seem unrelated to the exercises they're performing. Someone who begins strengthening this muscle may find it easier to carry groceries, stand up from the floor, climb stairs, or walk longer distances without fatigue. The exercises haven't directly trained every one of those activities. Instead, they've strengthened the foundation that supports them all. Scientists sometimes describe this as improving movement efficiency. Imagine pushing a shopping cart with one loose wheel. You can still move forward, but every step requires extra effort because energy is being wasted. Fix the wheel, and suddenly the cart rolls smoothly with much less force. The same principle applies to the human body. When your foundation is stable, the energy produced by your muscles is transferred more effectively into movement, instead of being lost through unnecessary swaying, poor posture, or inefficient mechanics. Another remarkable benefit is the effect on balance. Balance isn't simply about standing still without falling. It's the ability to respond quickly when something unexpected happens. If you step on an uneven surface or accidentally trip over an obstacle, your body has only fractions of a second to react. Strong stabilizing muscles allow those corrections to happen rapidly, helping you recover before a stumble becomes a fall. There is also an important relationship between muscle strength and metabolism. Muscle tissue is one of the most active tissues in the body. It uses energy even while you're resting. Preserving muscle mass helps support healthy blood sugar regulation, improves insulin sensitivity, and contributes to a healthier metabolism over time. This means strengthening one important muscle group doesn't only improve movement. It supports many of the body's internal systems as well. Perhaps even more fascinating is the connection between physical movement and the brain. Every time you practice controlled, balanced movement, your nervous system is learning. New neural pathways are strengthened, coordination improves, and reaction times become faster. In other words, you're not only training muscles, you're training your brain to move more efficiently. This partnership between the muscles and the nervous system is one reason people often feel more confident after only a few weeks of consistent practice, even before dramatic increases in strength occur. The greatest lesson is that progress doesn't require perfection. You don't need to lift enormous weights or spend hours exercising each day. The body responds to regular, meaningful challenges. Small improvements accumulate over time, just as small declines once did. A little more stability today makes tomorrow's movements easier. Easier movements encourage more activity. More activity strengthens the muscles even further, creating a positive cycle that works in your favor. This is why strengthening this overlooked muscle changes so much more than your physical appearance. It improves the way your entire body works together. Every confident step, every effortless rise from a chair, every walk through the park, and every year of continued independence is built upon the quiet strength of a stable foundation. When that foundation grows stronger, everything above it has the opportunity to perform at its very best. Knowing which muscle matters most is valuable, but knowledge alone doesn't change the body. Muscles respond to action, not information. The encouraging part is that keeping this essential muscle strong doesn't require expensive equipment, complicated workout plans, or hours in the gym. What it requires is consistency. Small efforts repeated over weeks and months can produce changes that are far more meaningful than occasional bursts of intense exercise. One of the simplest habits you can develop is to move with intention every day. Modern life encourages long periods of sitting, and while rest is important, the human body was designed for regular movement. Even standing up from a chair several times in a controlled manner helps activate the muscles responsible for stability. Instead of using your hands to push yourself up whenever possible, allow your legs and core to do the work. This simple movement closely resembles one of the most important actions you perform every day, making it highly practical for maintaining independence. Walking is another powerful tool. It may not seem like exercise in the traditional sense, but a brisk walk challenges your balance, coordination, and posture with every step. Walking on different surfaces, such as grass, gentle trails, or slightly uneven paths, encourages the body to make small adjustments that strengthen stabilizing muscles naturally. Of course, safety always comes first, especially if balance is already a concern, but gradually exposing the body to varied movements keeps these muscles engaged in ways a perfectly flat floor cannot. Another valuable habit is practicing single leg balance. At first, standing on one foot for even a few seconds may feel surprisingly difficult. That isn't a sign of failure. It's a sign that your body has found an area worth improving. Holding onto a sturdy chair or countertop for support, if needed, you can gradually increase the time spent balancing on each leg. This simple exercise trains not only muscles, but also the nervous system, teaching your body to react more efficiently when your balance is challenged during everyday life. Strength training also deserves a place in your routine, but it doesn't need to be intimidating. Exercises such as bodyweight squats, step-ups, bridges, and controlled lunges strengthen the muscles that support your hips, pelvis, and spine. Resistance bands or light dumbbells can add challenge over time, but the goal isn't to lift the heaviest weight possible. The goal is to perform each movement with good control and proper form. Quality matters far more than quantity. Flexibility and mobility should not be overlooked either. Tight muscles can limit movement and reduce the effectiveness of your stabilizing muscles. Gentle stretching, especially for the hips, hamstrings, and lower back, helps maintain a healthy range of motion. When your joints move freely, your muscles can work more efficiently, reducing unnecessary strain throughout the body. Perhaps the most important habit of all is avoiding the temptation to do too much too soon. Many people begin exercising with enthusiasm, only to stop after a few weeks because the routine feels overwhelming. The body doesn't reward extremes nearly as much as it rewards regular practice. 10 to 20 minutes of focused movement performed most days of the week often produces better long-term results than exhausting workouts that happen only occasionally. Finally, remember that aging is not defined by the number of birthdays you've celebrated. It is shaped by the choices you make every day. Every walk you take, every controlled squat you perform, every moment you practice your balance is an investment in your future self. These small actions may seem insignificant in the moment, but together they build a stronger foundation that supports every step, every movement, and every new experience. The remarkable truth is that the muscle that matters most after 50 doesn't ask for perfection. It asks for attention. Give it that attention consistently, and it can reward you with something far more valuable than bigger muscles. It can help preserve your balance, your confidence, your freedom to move, and your ability to live life on your own terms for many years to come.